So let's talk, why is it that so many people are dealing with mental health issues, insomnia, because of this pandemic? What is the cause of that?
So if we look at it from a Chinese medicine perspective, a lot of people have lost their rhythm in their lives. They're now working from home, there's not boundaries, they've changed the way they're eating, and a lot of people, by feeling very stressed, their sleep has been affected.
Right. So how do you look at insomnia from a Chinese medicine perspective?
So in Chinese medicine, there's 5 elements, and we look at the interplay, how it affects the body. There's something called a Chinese medicine clock, and it's quite amazing when you look at it, because every 2 hours, a certain organ functions better during the day.
Okay.
So what happens is, when a person presents with insomnia, we don't just look at the person's not sleeping well. We might ask them, what time do they wake up? Now, for interest's sake, if you wake up between 12 and 3 in the morning, it's a sign of liver.
Okay.
And in Chinese medicine, each organ is linked to an emotion. So the liver is to do with frustration, irritability and stress. So a lot of people find they fall asleep easy, but then they wake up that time, and then after 3 o'clock they magically fall asleep again, and that's the Chinese medicine liver time.
Okay.
So we look at the individual person, and then we know what is it we exactly going to treat. Another aspect we might look at is if people eating irregular meals. And in Chinese medicine, again, that can disturb your sleep and your mind again.
Okay. So it's all about rhythms. I mean, you think about if you're eating at awkward times or you're not sleeping well, those are rhythm things, you know. So let's go back to the clock in terms of different times of day that different organs function better. Can you sort of plot somebody's lifestyle based on that?
You can indeed. And we, with nature, should ideally fall into the rhythm of that clock. Then your body functions better.
Okay.
For example, between 5 and 7 in the morning is when your large intestine acts the best. So that's the best time to have a bowel movement.
Okay.
So if people get up and they're very stressed and they're busy and they start working immediately and they don't address that, it's like the rhythm already is not there.
Right.
And even with sleep, ideally you want to have a routine. Your body likes the routine. So it knows it's going to go to bed at a certain time, and then you're going to prepare for bed and sleep well.
Okay. And then we talk about sleep hygiene. It's often a conversation that we have. What is there an interplay, or is there a specific element of that in Chinese medicine as well? Things that you should do to kind of, I'm going to use the word, a bit of a runway to sleep, if we can call it that.
So one of the things you want to do is ideally not eat 3 hours before bedtime. You can have some fluid, and then it depends again on the person's individual constitution. So let's have a person stressed for a long period of time. It can affect their kidneys as the element in Chinese medicine, which equates kind of like the adrenal gland. So if a person's kidneys is affected, they might not want to drink water late at night because they're going to wake up to go to the loo. So what you want to do in Chinese medicine is help your body to calm it down, because you want to get the body prepared. I mean, even a normal day, it's like that. And you want to avoid bright light. Those things affect your melatonin production, and then it's going to affect your sleep. But a lot of people, when they stress, they on their phones, and that's going to affect part of their whole sleep routine and rhythm as well. And not just that, if your sleep's not right, your rhythm for the next day is out. So it's kind of like you can't play catch up.
Yes, absolutely. Because I mean, if you look at it, the rhythm, it's not the rhythm of a day, it's the rhythm of life, really, when you think about it. There's a big picture there. So if you disturb any element of it, whether it's within a week or a month or a year, you've put things out of balance, and you've got to work quite hard to get them back into balance. But let's just go back and touch on the idea of sort of stress, the stress that we're dealing with, this pandemic that we're experiencing. There's a lot more stress that people are having to face on a daily basis because of media, numbers, and all of that sort of thing. What is some sort of Chinese methodology maybe that people can use to settle or calm the stresses in life?
So the one thing of the element of earth is that we should stay grounded. So when we're stressed, we're very much in our head. So we're not in sync with our bodies. And the easiest way to ground is actually to walk barefoot on the grass. And you can even, if you wish, put your feet into the soil, because that will ground your body. And when it does that, you're going to feel, okay, now I'm ready for the day. And again, it depends on the individual. If the individual tends to be more liverish, you want to make sure that the person do movement. because liver in Chinese medicine constricts things.
Right.
So when you move, and it might just be walking, could be more than that, but you want to make sure there's fluid movement so that the body can retain its balance.
Okay.
So it's very much individual what's happening. A person, for example, might find with all the stress, they're suddenly sighing more. And the sighing in Chinese medicine is a sign of grief.
Okay.
So they might be very sad what's happening, and they might be internalizing it. So when you experience emotion, you want to feel the emotion, but the key is that you don't want to stay stuck in that emotion. So that's where Chinese herbs and, for example, acupuncture can help you to move through the emotion so that you don't stay stuck, and that your health can stay well.
Okay, it's interesting because the whole philosophy around Chinese medicine is it's very naturalistic, and I love that idea of grounding, literally grounding by getting your feet into the earth, because we live in shoes and in buildings with concrete floors and things like that. So you've really got to make the effort to get into that space of connecting with nature, which is such a beautiful thing.
And they say even if you walk in a forest, it can reduce your stress significantly. Just 15 minutes walking in nature. And they say hug a tree. There's a reason for that.
And it's also this energy flow thing. I think that's something that a lot of people are talking about more and more these days, in terms of the energy, your energy in the world and in the space that you're in. Debbie, what other tips could you give us in terms of good quality sleep overall, which would affect overall health?
So I think the most important thing is you should think of your bedroom as sleep. Nothing else should happen there.
Apart from the obvious thing.
So if you find you want to have a conversation with your partner and you find it's going to stress you out, leave the room. You don't want to work in bed, so that your mind gears yourself to that is just sleep. And your body is already, that's a nice place to be. You're already feeling relaxed when you're walking into your bedroom.
Okay, so it's really about creating an environment for sleep as well as getting your body ready for sleep.
100%. You want your room to be so dark, they say when you put your hand in front of you, can't see your hand.
Okay.
And that's the part that secretes the melatonin then, so that you can have a very deep sleep as well.
Okay, fantastic. Well, Debbie, thank you so much for your insights. It's interesting to talk about sleep from a slightly different perspective with a Chinese angle. Definitely more to explore there, so we'll have another discussion around that. But thank you for today.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful.